What is good, everybody? This is Charles from Team COG coming at you guys here with my locals review. So I ended up going to locals, live streamed the whole thing, and then this is just going to be me doing commentary over the locals. We're going to do each match one by one, and we're just going to discuss some plays, discuss some things I could have definitely done different, some cool lines, and just things like that, some thought processes, and everything. To kind of just replay, I think this is how you grow as a player. You just rewatch your plays and stuff like that. If you guys want to watch like the whole lives, like the live, you can head back and check it out. Please remember, if you guys want to help support the channel, though, hit that ding bell, hit that subscribe button, ding that notification bell, and also if you guys really want to get knighted and support the channel, like really, hit that join button, become a channel member. But without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and press play here, and we're just going to fly through it. So we end up going here. I end up winning the dice roll, and my hand is kind of cracked away. I see World Legacy Succession, and Succession, so like, Succession was kind of a curse. I ended up, out of like the entire locals, I ended up opening Succession like 6 times, and that's like insanely unheard of and like very unprobable for like to see a one of that many times. So like it kind of like alarmed me, but like out of the one ofs to see, like I guess Beckoned and like Succession, right? You have one of the other. You never want to see Beckoned. You always want to see the Succession. And those who don't know, the Succession Beckoned are part of like the IB line, which gives like you like this crazy type of like combo and stuff like that. And it's the list that I am choosing to play, and like the combo sequence I am choosing to play currently, and probably moving forward. It's the closest thing I can find to feel like old Infernoble Knights prior to his old getting hit. But we end up playing here. I think I have Boxer in hand as well, plus Renaud, Succession, and everything. So I'm just trying to like calculate how to play through certain hand traps. And I activate Museum, which you can kind of see it there. I do apologize. The angle gets better as the locals go on. So my buddy Caleb just giving me crap that I haven't picked up 25th Centuries yet. But we end up normal summoning the Uppercutter here and using the effect to add, which gives us Spar, and this is like a 1-card combo right here. So like, if he does not answer this, or he has no answers, like literally just with Uppercutter, we're going to be able to get to Double Charles and a Gearfried. And since we open the field spell, it's going to be like Double Charles. It could be like it would be Double Charles, Gearfried plus like Angel Ring, which is like pretty insane. But we're going to go ahead and add the Spar here. Knowing that my man, if you guys can see that Labyrinth sleeve there, so knowing that Labyrinth might be what's being played, we know that he like has furniture. He has like different types of stuff he could play. The furniture, hand traps. Arius is a hand trap, not to mention I know they have like the nib that they play here. But like this is cool because like you're gonna get to see like how flexible and how powerful this deck really is. Like if you sequence your plays correctly, you're able to beat a lot of hand traps. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and make this full screen here. I didn't realize it was not full screen. So we're gonna go Dempsey effect to add. We already opened Renaud, so we're gonna go ahead and add Ogier here, and I can't remember the reason why we add Ogier. Like looking through all the cards to add, I don't know why I had. So I already opened Renaud, so I guess we just add Ogier because like you add Ogier further down the line. So it's just to go ahead and add Ogier. So that means like down the line you just grab an additional or grab another extender. We go ahead and use Ogier's not Ogier. We go ahead and use Boxer's effect here to go ahead and detach. It means you can't target Boxers the rest of the turn. Little do you guys know, this is a very hard choke point for the deck. If you end up stopping this, like sometimes, and like almost 8 out of 10 times, like it kind of end us right here because like we don't have like the card in the graveyard to add back to continue to make a Synchro 5. We're going to special summon Renaud's effect to add back the Boxer, and that's going to pretty much allow us to special summon the Boxer because the Boxer is an old card. Spar is like old. It sucks. It's not a once per turn. It's inherent, I believe. But it does stop you from having a battle phase, but going first, you don't really matter. And going second, it's kind of like, it's okay. But we go right here. We have potential to move into Ib sold, to get Succession, but we already have Succession, so it would just be here. But we end up getting nibbed here, so this is brutal. So we're just doing the calculations. We're just asking because Museum's over there, and, you know, like, Museum, like, does Nib say original attack because Museum boosts everything by 5? Which would be easy. Everything would just be, it'd just be a additional 1,500 to the token. But I think Nib says the original. So we just do the quick math, and it's going to give us a token. Now, I think if he actually had any of the furniture in his hand, he could chain. But he doesn't. So he actually doesn't have. So we end up getting the Nib token here. And I have a very powerful extender in my hand. Which, get this, right? So if this was still playing like the Popular and the Banshee and all like the other like really deep Snake Eye stuff, this 1-for-1 would be popular. So it would be technically, so like the curse still continues to prove to you guys. For my sake, right? We go ahead and link off into the Link Spider just to go ahead and get the token off here. Arguably, we could have left the token. I don't think Link Spider was needed, but just to go ahead and get like a name here. Sometimes like going to Link Spider can kind of like, you know, like Actually, but anyway, we go 1 for 1, which would have been popular. Gets met with Ash Blossom, which is kind of rough. We go Succession Target Ogier, which is going to allow us to play through here. So we end up summoning out the Ogier, and Ogier's effect will be able to send. And then we're just going to do some thinking here, because not only does Ogier send, like, kind of like you're thinking, like, oh, what is Ogier going to send that could do anything? But we still have access to Museum. Museum, we actually did not use Museum's effect to add an equip spell, so that means we're going to be able to pay 12, add Durandal, pay 12, add Joyous. Whatever we say, we can grab back to hand. We just pretty much have full combo through this point, through playing through Ash and Nib being a probably high impact hand trap against us. But again, 1 for 1 should be popular if I was still playing that, so actually we would have been stopped here. So remember, guys, the luck continues. The luck continues. This is why we decided to not play popular and just kind of like not play like heavier Snake Eyes stuff. The only Snake Eyes card I'm playing is the OSS, the original Sinful Spoils, because it's technically another copy of 1 for 1. But we're going to go Ogier's effect to send the Ricky Ardetto, pay 12, go Durandal equipped, use Durandal's effect to go and add, and we're just kind of off to the races here. Being able to eat through this. Hindsight, he was saying that he kind of shotgunned the hand traps preemptively. However, I truly don't believe there was, like, I think he hand trapped correctly. Don't get me wrong. So we go ahead and use Ricky Ardetto's effect to special summon out the Roland from hand, and that's going to make it a level 1 tuner, and then we get to go ahead and make the Angelica, which is going to grab us the Museum while getting Roland to the graveyard. Because I don't think with the cards I had in hand, there was no way for me to get another, like, get all access to Oliver and stuff like that. So this is just the way that's going to give us access to Angel Ring and give us the ability to play through, like, the 2 disruptions here. And again, saying, like, I don't think he hand trapped me incorrectly. I think that if he would have waited any longer, I would have got to Ib, and then not to his knowledge, or, you know, like, we've played tested a lot. He knows that I get Ib, I get Succession. He nibs there. I get, like, Beckoned and a token, and I have Succession plus cards in my hand, so I believe he nibbed correctly, and 1 for 1, like, who's not going to Ash 1 for 1? Like, that's insane. Like, if you let 1 for 1 resolve and you have Ash, I mean, that's kind of crazy by itself. So anyway, I'm just trying to sit here and think, because I'm really, it's not looking back at it, right? It's not that hard to see what lines I need to do. I need to go, like, Ogier effect to target the Angelica to send the Turpin, and then I have a Museum access, so then I can go, like, Museum effect to do something to grab the equip spell that I can equip to the Roland. You know, it's kind of wild. Like, so we do this, I can chain Angelica here, so. But when you're in the heat of the moment, you don't really think about these things. You really don't. So I'm just going to try and kind of fast forward here because we're talking stuff. So there we go, we send Turpin. Angelica banishes herself, summons out Roland, and then we activate the second Museum. The second Museum is going to grab us the Almas here. I do promise, guys, in the upcoming, like, the next rounds of feature matches, we're going to get better, like, my mat's going to move further up, so then you'll get to see the full field. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm thinking here what to do, because I have access to, like, double Charles. I have access to not exhaust the Turpin, if that makes sense. Like, I can use the Museum. I'm just trying to calculate, like, so I need to get rid of Nib. I could also hold and just let Nib sit out there, because if I do, like, double Charles, like, I want to, Nib can't attack over, but Nib gives him an extra monster to link off to bait certain things, right? So that's what I'm trying to contemplate here, is, like, do I leave the Link Spider? Do I end up doing the route here to pop the Link Spider? So I end up going Turpin to attach, or equipped, excuse me, and the Museum to move up the Turpin. We end up synchroing here for the Charles, and we'll go ahead and use Almas effect to add back. Turpin should be banished here. I think I catch that. Hopefully I catch it. We'll go Roland effect to attach, and then Charles effect to pop the... Okay, now I see the line now that I was, like, going for. I had 2 options, pretty much. Actually, no, the Turpin should be banished because we moved it up with the field spell. See? Got to catch those things. So we end up making blue 2 Charles to attach, and then we go ahead and use the effect to Turpin since we control a monster with an equip spell. Turpin can special summon, and then we end up making SP, and then Turpin should be banished. So then our end board is Charles plus SP plus Angel Ring. So 4 forms of disruption through Nib and Ash. And I believe, like, this is going to be solid because the Angel Ring can check, like, the powerful spells like Pot of Prosperity. And then, like, Charles is going to be able to spell and trap negate. You know, like, even if he has Torby or something like that. And then if he gets a monster on field, like, we can potentially do some things here. But Angelica ends up coming back in the end phase. We end up resolving Roland to go ahead and grab the Angelic Ring, Charles to attach the Angelic Ring, and then I think I end up equipping Oliver, which is the correct call because that means like the only targets is SP and Angelica, which then I can proc the Angelica, which is really cool because like if he targets Angelica just bleeps out. If he targets SP, I can chain SP to target itself and Angelica, then chain Angelica, and then SP like stays, but Angelica gets to beep out. Anyway, we're looking at pretty much 4 forms of disruption right here. And it's kind of cool because Angelica can send Uppercutter, and then Uppercutter will reborn Boxer or Dempsey, and then Dempsey can add. It gives me his recursion as well, which is kind of crazy. But we're looking at his hand. He has, like, from seeing here, he has... Oh, I can't really... I see 2 of the big girls. I see Lady Labyrinth, and then the one that destroys something. So we set a card. He sets another card, and sadly, Charles is during the end phase. So, like, regardless of him just not doing anything, we're just, like, end phase. Charles will be able to equip from the graveyard the Durandal, equip from the deck and pop a card, and then he has 1 set. Charles can check the set, so then it's just trying to get enough damage on board, which with the cards that we have, we definitely should be able to. So we're setting up here pretty good here, and Charles will pop that, and then we just go in here with 2 of the big girls in hand, and then a transaction rollback. So he opened pretty much 2 of the big girls, Ash, Nib, and 1 of the traps. That's a rough hand, man. That is a rough hand. That's right. So we're going to go ahead and go into the next game here. Game number 2. We side, do all this fancy stuff here. And then we're going to see, once I go back it up here. I didn't see here. Did he pitch? I think he... There we go. All right. So he ends up pitching the Clock, I believe is... No, he didn't pitch a Clock. Clock wouldn't do that. So he ends up pitching Stovey Torby, I believe. Or Chandriglier. It's like one on the other, right? And I think he ended up pitching the Clock... Yeah, so he pitches Clock, does this, and I think since a card got pitched, Clock comes back. He goes and activates the Lady in hand to go and special summon itself. And looks like I have Beckoned in my hand. Yep, Beckoned, and I think there's Succession as well. So like this, I think this game actually, guys, like, or this round, I saw all three games I saw Succession, which is insane. But he ends up getting D-Barrier, which makes things a little bit difficult. The good thing about this deck is like we can play through D-Barrier. We just end up go into like Princess and stuff. Especially in the extra deck, I think the extra deck is not so, like, tight in my list. So, like, I have room to play, like, Amplo Whale, which is, like, falling out of favor. But I think it's, like, solid for us. He's going to end up popping and hitting a card in the hand. And there's actually, like... And Torby's going to come back as well. He ends up hitting Chalice, which is okay. My hand's actually really good. It just depends on if he can, like, snipe this next... He can snipe again, and then if he snipes the correct card. So we're going to go ahead and set Daruma Cannon, because that's kind of nutty. And then I think he's contemplating going into Unchained plays here, because I know he's on the Unchained list, the Unchained package and stuff. So maybe that's what he's contemplating on doing, but he decides to like hold, play a little bit more conservatively that way. I know a few times in the past he's like linked off certain things to go into Unchained, and like he's been punished by Nib and punished by like other hand traps like going that way. But he should know he's, like, pretty safe because why wouldn't I have, like, ashed or, like, belled the big welcome or whatever it was that activated, right? So, like, he knows I don't have any sort of hand trap, but he knows, like, I know it. This is what happens when you play test a lot against each other, like, you know. But this also gives you, like, the best play testing, right? Is when you play test consistently, you know some things. So I end up drawing for turn. Beckoned in my hand is just kind of brutal. I'm really not going to lie. I think I have Ricardetto, Beckoned, World Chalice, or, excuse me, Beckoned by the World Chalice. I drew Ash for turn. And I think I also have Uppercutter, which is pretty crazy. So he goes ahead and flips over D-Barrier, which is okay. And I think, so I see a line through this D-Barrier. I can get to Princess, Ambler Whale, and then like I can kind of like hold the line that way because I get to like Hida. Hida can get me a search. Like we enter into like this like grind game that like Infernobles are not supposed to have, but we do. But we end up going into battle phase, and like, oh wow, we end up just hard going into an evenly here, which is really good. So I feel kind of safe here. I was like, all right, I can play through a lot actually. Succession, just no, it's reinforcing the army. Okay, we go Rhoda. I think we go for Uppercutter. It looks like it's Beckon, Ash, and another level 4. Maybe this was like trying to think. Maybe like Rhoda was supposed to grab us something else. I'm locked out of synchro, so do keep that in remembrance here. As being locked out of synchros is really hard here. Normal summon the uppercutter effect, and he's going to chain here the trap to bounce us back. So this is what ends up getting me here. So I have Ash, Uppercutter, Beckoned, Ricciardetto, and he gets to destroy a card in my hand. And truly, it depends what he hits. So he ends up hitting uppercutter, which is bad. So like if he would hit Ash or the Beckon, we'd been able to push through here because like Ricky Ardeto's in my hand. I see it now. We would have been able to banish Ricky Ardeto, summon back out the uppercutter, special out the spar, make Dempsey add, grab Renault, and then combo that way. So like technically this is just bad luck right here because there's 3 cards in my hand he could have destroyed, and he ended up hitting like one of the 2 that, you know, like just statistically he should have hit a card that that didn't matter, but you know, it is what it is. That's where the luck and the RNG come in the game. So we have to pass it off here, which is kind of rough, really brutal. It's just like, I'm trying to think if there's any different way I could have done anything. I committed my normal summon with uppercutter, so there's really nothing I could have done here. But I have Ash, so that means like I'm able to hold the Ash and potentially hit like another welcome or something. But I think he ends up, that's the one crazy thing about rollback, is rollback, like he can use the rollback to do something. And then like Lovely's going to be able to reset a card, which I think he resets Duruma Cannon. There's just no way that I think now, like, now looking back, like I remember at the moment when he hit the uppercutter, I think I remember telling him, I was like, yeah, there was 3 cards I didn't want you to hit, so the chances were in your favor of hitting one. But now looking back at it, like, you know, the chances were like more into my favor. And that just shows just how bad luck I got here. But that's okay. It looks like I see a Nib in his hand too, so like he's, I don't know if, or is that a Stoby Torby? But he sets, you know, Lovely, he sets. He can use, like, rollback, I believe, if he has rollback to target. And see, that's what I was getting at. It's kind of crazy that rollback target, the effect of rollback to copy an effect, right? I think we just drew, Succession here, which normally is, like, bad, but I think we just can normal summon, like, Beckoned, Link into Link Spider, right? No, I see what it is. It's OSS, okay. So, look, I'm very confused on something. I think he reset D-Barrier, actually. For some reason, I think he set Duruma Cannon, but now that I look back, I remember he set D-Barrier. So he's going to summon, I think he snipes another card out of my hand? Is that what happens? We're just going to go through here. So he summons out the Torby, and I normal summon the Beckon. And this is the reason, so like, arguably I could have, like, wait. I think I was trying to, like, force out something because I knew that he had, I forget what he said. It had to be it's either D-Barrier or Duruma Cannon. I could have gone OSS, send here. This would have allowed me to summon Ricardetto from the hand. Ricardetto, bring back the Boxer. And then, like, it would force him to remove the Boxer. Otherwise, I could special the Spar out of my hand, I guess. I don't really know what I was thinking really here, but this is the part, right? So maybe the smart thing was, like, to go into that. I can't quite remember. So I think I link here. And there's a reason I kind of, like, in my mind, I'm, like, seeing the reason, like, I can link in Link Spider. That'll telegraph that maybe I have Succession, so that'll maybe force him to, like, use something in his hand. So he pitches Coup Clock, and then he chains the Torby, sending that in Nib, so he's going to be able to set something. I guess truly it doesn't matter, because he can go Big Welcome here to summon from the deck, right? And then he has some effects in the graveyard, like Coup Clock's going to be able to add back to hand. So thinking back on it, like, even if I just went OSS, send the Beckoned, summon Ricardetto bring back something, he would still be able to do this here, where he would be able to destroy something. And if he destroyed the Uppercutter, which would be the smart thing to do, destroy Uppercutter, I'd still be in the same, almost the same predicament I am in now, unable to play. But I believe he goes ahead and uses this one to bounce. He goes here to summon out from the deck, I think, Lovely, or no, Ariana. And then he'll use the Lovely to, or the Lady to pop a card, which I believe he pops the Spider, which removes my target for OSS. And then, like, I have to, like, use the Ricardetto in my hand to special out, and then I can, like, use OSS to summon, but, like, it's not, okay, it's losable from here. So, like, yeah, use Ricardetto, banish from hand to summon this. Then, like, I can go, like, OSS to summon, to send the Spar to summon out, like, Renaud, and then Renaud effect to add back something. So, like, it's a losing game here. That's what I'm trying to sit here and figure out and doing, as you guys can see here. Trying to hurry along here so we don't keep you guys too long. We go here. There's not really much to do. I think I just end up scooping it because, like, there's nothing here. Arguably, I should have done that. It would have been probably put me in a better spot. But anyway, we'll go on to the game 3. That would put me in a better spot because if he happened to hit Ricardetto, I still had Spar. Spar could have specialed out and I got him that way. But that's, like, putting into, like, hoping he'd hit, like, Ricardetto over the Spar, or over the Uppercutter that I would have summoned out. Anyway, moving on here. I get to go first now, and I actually open a horrible hand. I open only, actually, I don't open a horrible one. I open playable, and he decides not to Ash here. This is one of those hands where him holding Ash was like, so I opened Chalice, Tactics, and like 2 other unplayable cards in my hand. I think Succession was one of them. So I have Ash, Tactics. So I go ahead and grab Ogier here. All I'm trying to do is bait a hand trap in his hand, hoping that he'll Ash something, so then I can like use Tactics to draw 2 and potentially get into playable. Because it's like Ogier, Succession, I see it now. Ogier, Succession, Ash, Tactics. I can't see what the other card is. So I go here to effect Ascend. In all forms of reality, like looking back at it, like him holding this Ash was like really smart on his part here. But the hindsight of it is that if I didn't open like unplayable, him not Ashing would have been like huge, like totally detrimental to it. You know what I mean? So like if I opened like say any like museum or anything to play, him not Ashing like these certain spots here would have been like low impact. Or would have been low impact. So, but like him, like literally holding the Ash here, like on hopes that I can't play, is what's kind of crazy. This is one of those like dichotomies of Yu-Gi-Oh, right? He holds Ash, whereas if he would Ash me any point here, you know, like it would have been better for me. But like if my hand was good and not bad, him holding Ash was bad. He should have 100% Ash, like he shouldn't have held Ash. It's just crazy, right? But this is how talents normally goes for me. I see talents, the opponent never hands traps me or they imperm me. I don't see talents, they like drop like 3 hand traps on me. But anyway, we end up looking at his hand. He has like Ariana, double imperm, rollback, Ash, and I think the big lady. So kind of regardless, right? Double imperm would have been, that's just like 3 forms of disruption. So like the hindsight is like pushing through would have been a lot more difficult depending on the 2 cards I would have drawn, which is very unknown here. But normal summons Ariana. I choose not to Ash here because, you know, like, why would I Ash here? When you're going to be, like, you could just go Ku Klux, set, trap, summon, and then, like, it's, you know, it is what it is. I definitely, there's not really anything, like, there's nothing I could have done different, sadly, in the hand that I got. That was, my only option was to try and force a hand trap out of his hand so, like, Tactics could draw me into playable. But like I said, my man Caleb here was holding that Ash really, really strongly here. But also having the 2 imperms kind of like could have also justified it. Like he could have held Ash for like a more dire moment and just like use the 2 imperms. And so he ends up using the Stobatorbi pitch to set. He ends up going battle phase, attacking over Ogier and the Turpin. He ends up setting 2, which I'm sure like is what I know is like, kind of like I see it as like imperm plus or double imperm actually. So we actually, for believe it or not, actually guys, so like I was like, man, if I could just draw Beckend, I could go Beckend into Link Spider, Succession back, Ogier to send, and then I could like equip something to Ogier, special out the Turpin, overlay, make Dempsey, and like we could go places here. Which is kind of wild. So all I know is there's just double imperm and a summon from the deck, which I believe I have Bell in hand now as well. Is that what I'm seeing, a Bell? Yeah, so we go Big Welcome. I think that's, maybe I didn't see Ash in my hand and it was Bell. But this is the one I gotta read to make sure, because there's one that summons from deck and one that summons from graveyard, so I think I do Bell here. So truly, I'm just staring down 2 unknowns, which is one is an imperm. And I make a goof up here. I'm very bad at this, and I like need to get better at it. I'm very OCD, and I always throw down my cards in the center column, and I am about to get really punished here. Especially now that I get to watch back and see what I can do. But still, again, looking back, yeah, so we throw down imperm, and see, like, I was like, oh, shoot. I toss it down actually in the wrong column, and I move it over because I'm OCD, and I was like, yeah, whatever. It is what it is. Definitely looking back, just I'm OCD and moved it over. I should have left it where I threw it down, kind of. And that just does me in. But again, looking back at it, I would end up, like, even if Succession resolved, Succession bring back Ogier to send. 20-20 man, he imperms Ogier. I still lose. I'm still in the same predicament. He doesn't hit Ogier. I end up sending, and making Dempsey. Dempsey gets impermed. I beat over the Ariana, and like we're still in the same thing here. We attempt to go to end phase because I can't do anything, and he hits the tactics out of my hand, which is kind of brutal. But it just goes to show, again, like, just the variance, man. It is what it is. So regardless, as you guys will see, I'll quickly go through it. He's just able to go full thing. So the only difference is maybe, or actually it's not really a maybe, is if I could have got to Dempsey, Dempsey would 100% been impermed because my man knows better to let Dempsey resolve. I would have whacked into the Ariana, would not be here, but I do believe he has another Ariana right there. So, like, regardless, the only difference in this entire scenario here is that there'd be one less Ariana on the field, and I have no cards in hand, so he would just end up doing it. So, it's brutal. It's just one of those things where he opened bad, I opened bad, and I needed to open to, like, better than bad in order to, like, to gain momentum and all that stuff. But, yeah, totally shout out to him for holding that Ash. And, again, it's also, like, really hypothetical. Even if he did Ash me in any of the, like, the Heritage or the Ogier, I don't know what I'd drawn into. Just my hand was really, really bad. It's kind of like... But that's how it goes, right? It used to be like that in the old days, too. You needed 2 warriors to make Isolde. We still need pretty much 2 warriors to, like, combo if we don't see, like, Uppercutter, which Uppercutter is a 1-card combo. So, like, it's still the same thing. It's just the game. It's just how the game goes. Seeing the tactics, that's just the curse of tactics, I believe. You have to play tactics because you are going first deck, and you need to have tactics to hit these hand traps, man. And, it just, again, it's just how it is. But again, I end up taking the L here, going, 1-2. But again, for the 100th time, we'll have more matches coming up here to show you the rest of the night. But I think I ended up playing 2 Labyrinth throughout the thing, so this was a pretty wild loss, in my opinion. This just kind of like, the deck is so consistent, and then, like, out of nowhere, it became like, you get a hand like that, but it's Yu-Gi-Oh! At the end of the day. Anyway, guys, please remember, if you guys want to support the channel, subscribe, all that type of stuff. Most importantly, for all you guys out there watching, stay safe and stay healthy. This is Charles from Team COG, signing out.